and welcome. It's nice to see all of you here this evening. And tonight we're here to have a public information meeting concerning the South Macedo Blvd and Biltmore St Business District. You know, I want to start off by saying my name is Interim Assistant City Manager Patricia Roebling, and tonight the City Manager Jeff Bremer could not make it. He was supposed to do the introductions, but I'm here to take care of that for him. He had another business engagement, unfortunately, that he had to take care of tonight, but he wanted to bring his well wishes and wishes he could be here. I wanted to just start out by saying to you that I see some familiar faces and I see some new faces, and basically we have had 2 other meetings, and actually more meetings than that in other venues, concerning the Macedo Biltmore Business Park area. And the whole idea behind the meetings that happened in the past, just to give some history, is that there were some code compliance issues that were in the neighborhood and the business district out there, and we tried to make an effort to work to get the businesses to comply with some of these code issues. And some of the things we decided to do as a city is to partner with the businesses and try to work together as a team. And that was the whole idea behind the first meetings that we started having concerning this district. It's very important to the city council and to the city to try to work together as a team to see what we could do to partner, to come into compliance, to beautify the area, to try to do some things to enhance the area, because business for the city of Port St. Lucie is extremely important. And so we understand that, and we heard the business owners speaking to us about, well, it's very difficult for them, parking issues. And as we go through some of the slides tonight, we'll see some of the things that came up. So the effort was, you know, we didn't want to just go out there and say, okay, no, you got to come into code and that's it, forget it. It was all about trying to come up with a concept, an idea, teamwork, to work together. And I think we made a lot of really great strides. And you'll see some of that tonight. And you'll see some of the dedication from the city in return for that. And we have some nice guest speakers here tonight that are going to talk about different issues, and I'm really proud of that because it's gone on a little bit beyond where we were before, just talking about some plans and concepts. And there's some real things that are going to happen out there. There's still some conceptual things that aren't funded, but there's some real things that are going to happen, and you'll see that in the PowerPoint tonight. So it's important to let you know that we've made some really good positive strides in an effort to work together as a partnership. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Okay, the business district, as you all know, stretches from Thornhill all the way up to St. Lucie West Boulevard, and it's from Bayshore Boulevard to the Turnpike area. And of course, Crosstown Parkway, the new parkway, runs about right through the middle of it. So when it kind of cuts the Biltmore Street in half in the middle of the district, and the Macedo continues on under the Crosstown Bridge. All right, so we just talked about some of these items, and I wanted to mention that the meetings we had before were in 2013, and they were in May and July, and we basically went into the meetings. We had probably a lot more people than we do here tonight, but it was good because we engaged. And our first idea was to, you know, I talked to Steve out in the audience for a little bit. We talked about, you know, making Biltmore one-way and Macedo two-way and providing for parking. And there were a lot of concerns. There's a lot we engaged. It was really awesome because we had a lot of feedback. We had the maps out. People were writing down where their businesses were and their concerns. There were concerns with the Biltmore being a one-way street. There was concerns with parking. There was concerns with the code violations. We heard a lot of people come up and talk about that, you know, different things about the violations and what we could do to try to help with that. We took back a lot of feedback and we came up with a modified proposal, a modified concepts, modified ideas. One of those ideas I'm going to talk about, excuse me, a little bit further in the presentation, and it's something that Daniel will hit on as well. It's a modifier codes to try to help out with the compliance issue, and buffering and screening that we'll bring up. But you know, we wanted to try to address these things, and so we came up with the second plan. We heard everyone, and we went further with the plan, and we talked further, fine-tuning some ideas and concepts. You're going to see them here tonight. It's basically the same plan that was before us for proposals and ideas that we can do, but we've added some things to it. And also we want to talk about the next thing that's on the list that you'll see up here is one of the missions was to work with the businesses out there to create a business association, business park association, and actually it's been done. And I'm really proud of the people that worked on behalf of the city and on behalf of the businesses out there to accomplish this. It was a major goal. It was awesome, and it's actually been incorporated. So now there is what's called the creation of the Crosstown Business Park Association. And Bob Ludlam's going to talk a little bit about that tonight. He's one of our guest speakers, and I don't want to take anything away from that, but it's really a mission. The mission of this Business Park Association is to try to accomplish some of the goals that we set out to do, working as a team with the business park. So I'll let him speak to that later, but the idea, of course, is to engage businesses, try to come up with some opportunities for the city and for the business district, because we want the businesses to thrive and do an excellent job out there. I'm going to show you some things that we're going to do to help, possibly. One of the things we have coming up is council has engaged us into neighborhood planning, and the first neighborhood planning area is this planning area. So the business district is part of that, and we're going to be going out for an RFP to have a consultant study the neighborhood planning options, and we can discuss those further, and this would be part of that. So that's kind of interesting and cool that it may allow for some opportunities in the neighborhood planning overall, that you're the first neighborhood planning area 3. You know, obviously we want to enhance and beautify the area, like I said, but we need to be in compliance. We got to get everybody in compliance with the codes, or it's as best as possible, and that's a mission that's in one of the Business Park Association's mission statements. We have on-street parking opportunities. We don't have funding for them, but we're going to talk about different ideas, and we can talk about partnering for that potentially in the future. And Daniel's going to speak a little bit about that too. We want to, the council and management wants us to go forward with buffering the Florida's Turnpike. I'm going to show you some pictures of that. The drainage system out there, as you all know, needs improvement, pavement overlay. We have a potential grant that we've submitted for a multimodal park and ride facility, believe it or not, right in this region. I'm going to go back and show you. Do I have a pointer thing on this? Do I have a? Oh, there it is. What did I do? Just push it down? Is that it? Oh, there it is. Okay. Right there. City owns that piece of land. It's actually a vacant piece of land that's fenced in, and the city does own it. And we have submitted for a grant, and I'll show you the picture of the multimodal facility. And then we came up with some ideas for possible district, business district signage, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about the code revisions we talked about before in the fencing and the screening. Okay, so here's the existing conditions. We just have some pictures. Obviously, we have a lot of, whether, it's probably the employees parking in the area of Macedo, mainly a lot of Macedo parking adjacent to the turnpike. So you can see that there, but they're parking up and down the streets and so forth. So it's an issue. The on-street parking that we presented before that's been modified is Macedo stays two-way, Biltmore stays two-way, We would provide for some parallel parking potentially with landscaping bays only on Macedo Boulevard on the west side. We have a tract of land that we own there, and we have room to do it and still have the swale and the power poles and the whole 9 yards in there, so that would be the best place to put it, and possibly tie in some sidewalks over to Biltmore Street. A total of 455 parking spaces we figured out could be put in there. That's a lot of spaces. Don't know if that's really what we want to do. We have some other ideas, but I'll go through it. And then turnpike berm and with landscaping buffer. The idea behind that, again, is not to make the berm so high you can't see any signage or anything. It's just a beautification. And that's something that council wanted us to do. And I'll go into that a little further. Okay, so potential parking layout. This is just some layout. I know it's hard to see, but we have copies of the PowerPoint if anybody wishes to get a copy or a larger map of this, larger scale map. But you can see up here that this right here, this is the first quadrant. This is from Thornhill to Malloy. And so, you know, you got, I can't read that. I'm really bad. I'm getting old. That's a number there, 8 I think it is, 12, 12, 12, 12. These are bays of parking that are basically parallel parking, and you're going to see this. I'm just going to run through it because you can't see it very well. But you see the yellow lines are the sidewalks that we would run down the streets to connect to Bayshore. And again, this is element of funding. You know, the funding is a big word. Here we go to the next section. You can see the bays of parking. I think the easiest way, and then all the way down to the end of Macedo. The best thing here is, okay, this is Macedo right here, two-way. Here's the parallel parking. Here's an example along with a landscape island that basically would be at the end of the streets that come in, the parallel streets. Here's the turnpike over here. Here's the berm. The swale is a dark line. So you'd have like bays running like this, a parallel parking, then you have an island, parallel parking, then another island. So that's kind of like what the idea was. Now again, you know, there's a cost for this. It's not cheap. And I was talking a little bit about, you know, with Daniel about the potential of, well, what could we build this out of? And there's nothing off the table. But, you know, keeping in mind that you have a lot of truck traffic and stuff like that, we got to make sure it's something very stable. We got to make sure the drainage is still working. The drainage on this side of Macedo is just totally destroyed, and it remains in that condition because of the parking. And that's something that we really can't address until we do something about that issue. Okay, so looking at it from the turnpike, this is the turnpike. This is a guy driving on the turnpike. You got a lot of wide open area here where there's a swale. And then here's a little berm we put in the FP&L easement. There's a 30-foot easement there, but we own this tract of land, okay? And then if for reference, here's their fence. It's actually sticking 4 feet onto our property. And then here's the transmission lines. And then we put in the swale. And then here's the parking area with the island with landscaping. And then the two-way remains on Macedo. And then if you're looking at it, if you were standing at your business looking at the turnpike, then what you'd see is, you know, you'd see the berm. You'd see the cars driving back and forth. Here they are parked in the area where the berm is, and then you'd have the cross street with the landscaping bays here, and then of course the berm, and then the power lines would be up here. So this is just kind of a visual if you were standing looking at the road. Now, you know, those were some ideas on what we could do. One thing I want to bring up now is, you know, you have this business association formed, and there's other options we can look at, and Daniel's going to talk a little bit about that. And one of the things is, you know, I was looking out there, there's some vacant land that's out there on the Biltmore area, and, you know, is there opportunities, instead of putting all of the parking on Macedo, is there an opportunity to maybe get one of those or two of those vacant lots strategically planned and create parking areas? I don't know. That's an option. That's something we can explore. There's a cost to that. It is a business district, so the cost, it's not like a residential single-family lot, and that's something that we may want to, look at, see what we can do, work together as a team. So the new parallel parking, though, along Macedo, the cost of that's about $500,000. So, that's a price. For the 455, it's a little over $1,000 per space. The turnpike berm, that's something council wants to entertain. We have a price tag on that of about $500,000, but I will tell you that FP&L wants to do some construction in their easement, so they've asked us to hold off on creating the berm, which we were actually going to do this year, until 2015-16, and we may be able to partner with them to help save on those costs. We don't know for sure. We're working with them right now. We are proud to say that the roadway milling and resurfacing is in our paving program. I spoke with staff. Mike's here tonight. Thanks for doing the homework on that. We can support some milling and resurfacing. It's very much needed in this business district, and we have it in phases. I'm going to show you that in a little bit. And then the swale liner program is desperately needed in some areas of this district, and that has a price tag on Macedo is $400,000, on Biltmore $400,000. These are just estimates. The Macedo like I said, until we do something about people parking on the west side of Macedo, we're not going to have much luck putting anything in there without it being destroyed. So that's something we'd be holding off on. Those are just estimates. This is a proactive part I was talking about that the city is doing. This is a swale liner program that's happening as we speak. And Mike, we're supposed to be finished in August? September. Okay. It is underway. What you see in yellow is where the swales are being reworked. Liners either being replaced where it was, or new liners being added. And there's going to be some underground stormwater piping that's replaced in this area. And this represents right here almost half of the swale liner program for this district, and it's underway, and it's currently being constructed. So that's a proactive part the city's doing. This orange-red type of line right here is that drainage canal that you probably are familiar with that runs in the district area, and that's being reworked and cleaned out, and the banks stabilized so it can convey water faster and more efficiently. So this is a proactive thing the city is doing right now as we speak. And I thought that was important to note to everyone here tonight, to pass on. The other thing is on the paving schedule, I also got this from Public Works, and you can see at the bottom here that, okay, the red line areas, now this is the district split in two. Here's Crosstown, this is the first half, and then here's the second half. So the red areas plan to be milled and resurfaced in 2014-15. The blue areas would be done in 15-16, and the yellow areas, which is basically Macedo, and again, with FP&L working out there, we want to hold off on that, would be 16-17. And this is the plan. It's not saying that this plan cannot change. It is subject to approval, but it's something we are speculating to have to work into our program. It could be modified, but there should be some improvements out there, and this is what we're hopeful to get approved. And that is the paving schedule. We do have other projects in the city that will be milling and resurfacing, as well as this area. This is not the only area. There's numerous other parts of the city that we would be doing improvements in. This is the multimodal concept that I discussed before. Here you are with Macedo and Carter, and then here's Crosstown. And the city does own this vacant piece of land right here. This is the cul-de-sac that ends right on Biltmore, heading northbound before Crosstown. And so here's, it's a park and ride, it's a potential transit facility area. And we are in currently for a grant. We've applied for a grant for a little over $300,000. And we're hopeful to get some kind of reaction back from that. I talked to Daniel a little bit. We don't have an exact timeline for it, but we are going to continue to search for opportunities to do multimodal transportation facilities throughout the city, and this was one site that seemed to be an opportunity, and could be an opportunity for the business district as well. Here's some examples of some district signing. Now this signage this is up in St. Augustine?
Actually, this one is in
Oregon, okay. Wow, I was way off. Okay, so here you have, now this kind of signage wouldn't be that expensive to put on the stop signs. You know, so it's something as a partner we can look at and see what the potential for signage. Another thing in the neighborhood planning program that we discussed is some of the people, when they came to the workshop, had thought that it might be nice to do some kind of entry signs to the neighborhoods. You may want to consider for your business district doing some kind of monument sign in certain locations in the district. It would really enhance it, and maybe even do some of these types of signs, crosstown business district with an emblem on the top. That may be an opportunity. These are just opportunities to think about. Again, we talked about the code revisions for the open storage, and Daniel's working very hard with the Planning and Zoning Department. By the way, he is Daniel Holbrook. He's Assistant City Manager for Economic Development, and he will be speaking in just a couple minutes. But he's been working very hard on these ordinances and the code changes overall for the city codes. And basically, we're going to try to implement that in 2015, probably in July. We would take it before council for approval, and he's going to speak to some of these opportunities for the storage, the revisions to that code of ordinances. And basically, we would love to see the fencing and the opaque screening for the open storage. He'll speak to that a little bit. I know a lot of people out in the business district have done improvements. I've seen them myself. I know that the city took some of their facilities and did the same as well. So that was good to see, but there's obviously more, there's always room for improvement in this area. So I can open it up now for discussion, but I think if you don't mind, I would love for, before we did that, we can come back to discussion. I would love for Robert Ludlam to get up and talk about the Crosstown Business Park Association, give us a brief overview of that, and then I would like policies and practices and opportunities, Mr. Holbrook, to come up and speak to that, and then crime prevention. We have Sergeant Dobler here tonight and Carmen Capizzuto to speak about crime prevention and also some opportunities there. And then we can open up for questions at the end, and we'll take it from there. So let me introduce now Mr. Ludlam.
Thank you, Patricia. Appreciate it very much. As she said, I'm Bob Ludlam. I own Aqua Dimensions Plumbing and Ben Franklin Plumbing, and been on Macedo Boulevard for probably about 18 years. Been here in the city working for about 23 years. Seen a lot of changes up and down in the city, and with seeing what the city's doing, I think Patricia did a good job showing, the investment the city is willing to put into our business district over there. So I'm very encouraged by that, and I hope a lot of you are encouraged by it as well. And with that said, she mentioned us putting this association together, and that's basically for a cooperative effort to work better with the city on making some of these improvements and help us in our district, and show support for what they're trying to do. But in turn, it gives us a stronger unified voice to work in a cooperative effort with the city when we do have challenges. We know that there are a few challenges out there with some of the compliance issues, some parking, some different things. So I think we can all agree that they're putting together some pretty good ideas to help us out with this. As far as the association goes, we have filed for the Articles of Incorporation. We are still working kind of on a forming stage of it. We're just now trying to get to the point that we're going to encourage membership to help us out. It'll give us, again, a unified voice to work with the city, because right now, if you had a challenge or an issue or a question or concern, you're dealing with it by yourself. If you have an association, then you're able to do it as a group, and it's better recognized. I've already been informed that we'll be recognized as an association. It gives us the opportunity as a group to speak. And this is, an association is simply a group of people organized for a common cause or purpose. This isn't an HOA, it isn't anything like that. And our common purpose is to, work with the city to improve our business district. So there's a group of us that have been working together, John with Elite Electric and Air, and Steve with K&S Industries, Mike Heisenberg at Expert Shutters, Jeffrey Braun at Certified Builders, and Chuck Reller with American Personal Storage. We've kind of been meeting and putting this together, working with the city on these things, to work with them on these improvements, but letting them also know what some of our challenges and concerns are. And we want to build an identity for our business district is what we want to do. So we want to attract better businesses to our area. We really appreciate what they're trying to do, but again, there are code compliance issues that we all have been guilty of sometimes, and I think we need to help them and encourage improving some of these compliance issues. So that's kind of we did a little handout. I'm assuming everybody got it. If you didn't, there's a handout, and we just did a brief summary of the purpose and mission, and I won't waste time going through the whole thing on there, but it's in an outline out there for you. And we're trying to do this as, like I said, a cooperative effort with the city. So we need your help encouraging membership on it. What I did is put a handout out there, and if you're interested in the association, we don't have dues set or anything like that yet. What we're trying to do is encourage the membership at this point and see what kind of interest we have. It's going to take a grassroots efforts for us making phone calls, knocking doors to get businesses in the area to inform them of what we're doing. So we could really use your help on letting people know that this is what we're trying to do. So if you're interested, please fill out your information, email, phone number, your business name, and help us help the city out because they're trying to help us out. So if you have any questions, I'm available at the end. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Holberg's going to speak next. Thanks.
Good evening, everyone. Daniel Holbrook, Assistant City Manager for Community Development, working with Economic Development, formerly Planning and Zoning. And just wanted to say, first off, thank you for showing up, taking your time, and we appreciate it. I would love for the next time that we meet that it's either around a round table or out in the field where you guys are actually at. So thank you very much. I am just going to cover a couple of topics real quick. First, the proposed code changes and what I'm going to consider as upcoming opportunities for you to be involved as an association with the city. First, the proposed code changes, nothing new. It's really covering the main topic of open storage and inoperable vehicles. It's been a code issue that we've had for years, and obviously the image of this area is very important. So if you're wanting to improve the value of your business and of the area and of the property, that's going to be one of the key things that you need to touch on. So from our perspective, we're just wanting to make sure our codes are in line with the values, one, of the area and of the city. So we have some proposed code changes. I'm not going to go through them because the slides were shown. If you want copies of any of that, I can email that to you, and I'll have cards up at the front at the end. So if you want to contact me directly, you can do that. So that's the code changes, and we're looking at taking this conversation not just about our specific codes, with those that I just mentioned, but actually we're updating all of our land development regulations. And so as a part of that, we're going to be having conversations with this association, and we're also involving other associations. St. Lucie West has a commercial and industrial association, and anybody from the development and business community. If you have input, if you have thoughts, if you've had experiences and you want to make sure that we've addressed it in our update, that's going to be the appropriate time to have that correspondence, or you can even do that now, and we'll include that in the file. We anticipate that we're going to start having those conversations in the fall of this year. Additionally, we're going to be looking at what we're calling our the 3 Ps, our policies, practices, and procedures, and the label of this project being called Regulatory Rethink 2.0, just for a little bit of fun. And that's really our time to really step back and look, as an organization, do we have the best practices? Do we have the best policies and procedures in place that really help to encourage small businesses and the business community, and ultimately also even our residential, image that we have as a city? And if there's things we need to change, we need to look at or address, that's going to be an appropriate time for that. So I'll be having those direct conversations with the association here probably late summer. And, and that is going to be a time I'm just going to encourage everyone to think, and everyone's had an experience with the city, everyone's had an experience with their neighbor, and just if you can share that, because a lot of times we don't always get that image and that information. Continuing on, obviously we have the neighborhood planning project, and as a part of that, that will be continued on to later in the year. And one of the things that I would like and encourage and say that this is an opportunity is this area is unique to the city. It was originally single-family platted lots that were then part of a conversion area that said we're going to allow this to change into something other than what it was originally intended. And so it has some very unique issues. And in the planning world, the way that you often deal with unique issues is you sometimes create what we call an overlay district. And that allows for you to have unique codes or specific procedures just for a place because of its uniqueness. And one of the key things that's going to be important is to find a balance of the needs of the business community, but still holding to the values of the business community and the residents at large. And so how that plays out is probably going to have a lot of dialogue, but that's going to be that opportunity. Many times uses, everything from parking, landscaping, and other things that we may not even be thinking about at the moment can be incorporated into an overlay district. And with that, you may have seen from time to time signs that are posted by the city up and down the corridor. There is development applications that are going on currently. We have a couple of them that are active right now, and so you will see new construction and you will see new uses that are going to be coming in. And we've encouraged them as we've met with new people that are saying, we're interested, one, to be in contact with you guys, and because we're saying that they were looking at forming an association. Well, now that it's formed, we'll be giving you them their contact number. So basically kind of wrapping it up, because I don't want to take all your time, and what I'd actually like to have is a lot more dialogue between us instead of me just talking, actually hearing what your thoughts are. But lastly, I would just like to say congratulations on the formation of the association, and I think it's a huge step for this area to have a business district. And in case you didn't know the statistics, I'm going to throw some stuff out to you real quick. Within 3 miles, you have over 80,000 people. Within those 3 miles, the average household income is $59,000, and the average age is 40. So you have a lot of people who have needs, who have income to spend on uses and services, and your connection, you are, just depending on which part of the corridor, you're within a mile of the Turnpike interchange. You're within just a little over 3 miles of I-95, so your access is phenomenal. Going to Bayshore, whether you're going north or south, you have access to go to the north part of the county as well. So I think you guys are strategically located for success. I think it's a good step, that this association is being formed, and I just look to further partnerships. So again, I'll be here for questions, and I have my card and contact information, and I'll be looking forward to future conversations.
Thank you, Daniel. All right, so we're going to talk about crime prevention. And then we'll close it with some questions and thoughts. And I just want to say that afterward, we're going to hang around and we can look at the map. We can talk about things one-on-one, so feel free to make sure to stay and ask us after the fact if you want to talk one-on-one. Sergeant Doctor.
Okay. I'm Sergeant Rod Dobler, Senior Sergeant of the District Support Division. One of the units I supervise is crime prevention. I'm a crime prevention certified practitioner. I'm certified in residential and commercial security surveys. I just wanted to offer some of the services from the police department. I have some flyers in the back. We offer a business watch, and one of the main functions, of course, of the business watch is to watch out for each other. Now, you don't have to like your neighbors or your fellow business people, but we're going to ask you to look out for them. And the other, I've left some flyers in the back. I do want to talk about one thing real quick, and I left this in the back. Debit cards. If you're using a debit card, please stop. Because if somebody gets a hold of your debit card, they can take all your money out. If you're using a credit card, you have a limited liability. Credit card's $50. Somebody gets a hold of your ID. ID theft is one of the fastest growing crimes that we have. 1 in 4 of our citizens are going to be a victim of ID theft if we don't get out there and educate everybody. 1 in 4. We have a population close to 170,000. That's a lot. Okay, that's what we're looking at. This right here, and I have it in the back, this is a takeoff where they used to put things on the ATM machines. Okay? Be real careful when you're using an ATM machine. We found this at the Publix on US 1. And what this is, it's just a takeoff, and actually, this guy needs to change his shirt, but he's Vero Beach, he was in Vero, Palm Beach Gardens, Boynton Beach. He is under arrest, this gentleman. But what he was doing was he was drilling into the ATM machine, actually drilling into the existing machine and putting a camera in there. He would leave it on a month, get all your information, come back, knock the camera off, he has all your information. They can clone your card and wipe your checking account out like that, just like that. And your limited liability, yeah, you might be able to get the money back from the bank, but again, on a credit card, your limited liability is $50. They get a hold of your debit card, they can do some serious damage. So again, I wanted to offer the service. I can come out to your business and do a commercial security survey, okay, whatever's convenient for you. You call me up, call the main building, and I'll make arrangements. I'll come out to your business and we can set up a survey. We live in one of America's safest cities. And we have this designation. We're very proud of it. It means people are going to move here. Businesses are going to come here. They want to be in a safe environment. We had a 19.6 crime reduction last year. The figures just came out for this year, and we have a 19.3 crime reduction. We're very proud of that. I know my time's limited here. I have left some things on the back of the thing, some things about your credit cards, okay? If you have any questions on that. This is what a survey would look like. It's extensive. As I said, call me up. I'll come out to your business anytime you want, and we'll sit down and we'll go over some things regarding your security of your business. I've also left this on the back counter. Okay, and what's important in this talks about identity theft. In the back is all the contact information that you would need. So I have a few of these in the back too. Again, I want to ask that in a business watch situation that you look out for your fellow businesses. And I'll be here to answer any questions. I'd like to see what everybody wants to know. And Norman's going to come up here and talk about crime prevention.
Good evening, folks. Carmen Capizzuto from the Public Works Department. Wanted to just mention how proud I am again of all of you all to be here tonight. Thank you for coming out. When we were setting the agenda for this meeting, we were talking about bringing in the crime prevention component to this meeting, and then we got on the subject of litter. And I just kind of wanted to talk for a minute or two about how litter and crime are related. Maybe you don't know this or not, but littered areas attract more crime. And by that I mean once your area starts going downhill, you might see graffiti, you might see a broken window, and then next you have some breaking and entering situations going on. So what we wanted to talk to you about tonight was the city's Adopt a Street program. Certainly, you don't have to belong to any kind of program to pick up trash. I would encourage everyone to pick up a piece of trash today on your way home. But we do have the applications here. It's a free program from the City of Port St. Lucie, from the Public Works Department, where you sign up. This is a great opportunity to sign up the association, or you can sign up your individual businesses. And if you do that, the city will supply you with the necessary tools, the garbage bags, we give out the grabbers so you're not bending over, It's a pretty laborious task, but we try to make it as easy as possible. So have the applications in the back. We have some business cards of my staff that coordinates the program, and one of those ladies is here tonight, Anna Marie in the back. Just raise your hand just for a second, Anna Marie. If you are interested in the program, you'll be in touch with our staff who get you signed up. So in addition to the program, in addition to the things that we provide as a city, we'll give you signage as well. So it could be the name of the association, it could be the name of your business, and would like to see the major corridors adopted by the business district. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sergeant. Thank you, Carmen Capizzuto. And at this point in time, I guess we'll go ahead and open it to questions. If anybody has any questions they'd like to ask the team. We can talk one-on-one, so let's do that. It sounds like a good venue. I really appreciate you coming out. I'm very proud of the Business Association. I think that is awesome. I love the name. I think that's awesome too. I can't thank you anymore for coming out. We had a great team tonight. Thank you all for your input. Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, for coming out. That's important to us. And we will chat from here on out. Thank you.